Hi, I'm Gavin Devaney from Bartle Frere Bananas in Boogan, North Queensland. We're a family run and owned farm, and we run 250 acres of bananas with about 30 employees. We farm in the Wet Tropics in North Queensland, so with that comes the benefits of having enough water to irrigate with, but also come the challenges of trying to get rid of the water and any excess groundwater when trying to farm in these areas. We purchased 65 acres off our neighbour, which was originally a cane farm. We then were going to transition the entire property over to bananas. However, it was a wet farm, and we always knew that we would have to make major changes to the way that we farm the land to be able to introduce that into our property. No farmer actually likes to lose their topsoil, and no farmer can actually physically afford to lose all their fertiliser. So we do everything possible to actually keep all that on the farm. So as a farmer in the Wet Tropics, and given the fact that the farm is on the highway and the water from that farm exits and goes into the Moresby River, we decided to take a holistic approach towards best management practice and work towards the environmental changes that are needed to actually clean the farm up and make it economical to farm. After purchasing the property, we then got some drone footage and photos done of the property, which actually showed that there were significant areas of the property that were damaged by wet and underground water and lying water. So we turned around and approached Darryl Evans, who specifically could tell us road direction, contouring, and anything that might be able to alleviate those problems. Once the cane was cut and we were able to start looking at the lay of the land and everything, we started down the process of trying to keep no less than 0.4% of grade to trying to keep nothing more than 1.5% without moving mountains. I'd been introduced to Will Darveneser at the Cassowary Coast Banana Growers Association meeting, and he was a drain specialist.
The idea behind the treatment systems on farm came out of regulation, and our project looked at other industries that were regulated as to what they can release from site, like mining and construction and urban development, and we tried to see if we could take some of those ideas in terms of water treatment on site and apply it to an agricultural setting. And Gavin's farm here, low in the landscape, provided sort of the perfect opportunity to trial some of those treatment systems. The drain that we ended up installing on Gavin's farm comes straight out of urban development. It's a stormwater drain designed to handle high flows of water. In periods of low flow, the central part of the drain acts as an in-drain wetland. So we're creating the right type of ecosystem there for microbes to live in and denitrify the water. And in periods of high flow, the water will actually spill over the benches on either side of the drain, and will hopefully filter out some of that sediment as well before it leaves the property. And really, it just led to us enhancing the shape of the drains, and just by doing that was all we needed to make a difference to water quality.
The water from the drain has been monitored for 2 years, and we were able to denitrificate that water by developing the water plants in the drain. So the style that the drain is, we were able to mow it and maintain the water plants. In not having to spray the drain and being able to mow the drain, we've been able to stop the sediment runoff. So we managed to be able to sustain hard walls, and keeping grass coverage has managed to stop that erosion effect.
It's shown a lot of promise. It's reduced a large amount of nutrients in certain conditions. But really what this project has done for us is open up the avenue of exploring denitrification and the role that drains can play on farm in terms of treating water before it leaves the property.
Given the fact that the farm had a lot of wet spots in it, we approached Drain Tech to come in with their specialty knowledge around underground drainage. They came in, they GPS mapped the property, they drove around looking for locations of quite low spots and everything else, and they decided to put in a gridded system with herringbone areas coming off that up into the slide hills, and they managed to tap a lot of underground springs. After doing the GPS mapping, they decided to put in 2.5 kilometres of underground piping with a combination of 6-inch mains and 4-inch sub-mains. It worked. We were able to access the property a lot quicker after the wet season, and where we were getting bogged in working the paddock up prior to having that pipe work put in, there's no more a problem. We're growing healthy bananas there now. So now that the farm is up and running and we've put in the practices that we could do, we've now taken on a project with AHR and Hitachi that is a smart farming project. So it's actually bringing the link between real-time data of decisions made on farm and nutrients running off the farm. Most of the changes that were made in the first 12 months of preparing the land to plant it. Most of the consultations were done with Will and with Daryl Evans and the other organisations within that time. We ended up getting grants through ABGC and through MIPS that actually went towards those projects. Overall, the systems worked very well. From having no water laying in the paddocks, so the gradients with the laser levelling has worked really well. We ended up with no wet spots in the paddock that are soft, that create bog holes. Once you get the ruts in the paddock, it's a nightmare to try and get rid of them. So levels worked well, underground drainage has worked really well, and during the flood, the drain system itself in the 3 levels of the drain worked fantastically. We ended up with very little flooding, so the drain coped with the volume of water. Our family business has always been up for change, and given the fact that we made the changes into the new property, it's given me ideas on how I can change my farming practices going forward in the rest of our farm.